In the first place, if I'm a Minister of Education, I will have no business negotiating with ASUU, no Ministry of Labor. If you look at the university laws, even before the so-called autonomy bill, universities were set up to be independent of government. We were the employees, and we are the employees of our councils, and we are not part of the civil service. That is why when ASUU said we should not be we should not be on IPPIS, ASUU is right, because we are not civil servants, you know. But on the other hand, ASUU itself wants to collectivize everything and be able to talk to government. They want to bring in NLC. They want to bring in everybody. The attitude is, let's close down this system. No, it's not true. If you go to university, you must be interested in the children, in progress, in research, not in closing down the system. So you have to sit down internally and see how can we move this system forward. And that is what vice chancellors and councils must do. Not everybody sit down and say, okay, go and discuss with government. Well, they have started it, and that is a bit, one cannot say it's their fault. One government agreed that they were going to sign agreement with ASUU. Even at that time, I said this is wrong. How do you, government, when you are not my employer, you are going to sign agreement with me? And this thing has never been tested in court. You know, if councils are allowed, and they are allowed to run their universities, to take charges and make sure that everything is going on, you know, and the ASUU members too, they are not unreasonable people. They are not. You know, they have the interest of the university. Some of their colleagues are outside there making money, but they are here. Some of them are committed. Some of them are interested in their subjects and so on. And therefore, a vice chancellor and his council should be able to sit down and say, what does the law allow us to do? If government comes and say, no, you can't do that, so that government, give us the money. Because I told you, when I had to charge students, I said, no. President Obasanjo has finished his work. He has written a letter saying, look, Professor Tukur Saad, you are now the Vice Chancellor of University of Technology, Minna. I said I will never go back to Obasanjo for anything. So I will work within the law and within my council. And I'm not bragging. Within 5 years, we transformed the place. Abandoned projects, we collected money. We made from students. Students are very understanding. And even ASUU, you know, I don't know whether some people are not lucky. I had a very understanding ASUU chairman. I still remember his name, Professor Nsofo. When they are making noise about, Nsofo said, look, this man is just coming from ABU. Let's give him a chance. Let's see what he wants to do. So this is what saved me, because the day I landed, they said they don't want any vice chancellor from outside, you know, and therefore my appointment was not good and so on. He said, look, gentlemen, this guy is coming from ABU, an older university. We may learn something from them. And he said, all right, give him all the support. So I had the support of Nsofo and Mujid and all the ASUU members, even when there is a strike. Sometimes we ask for excuse. Look, this university had been closed over the period for 2 years. We have lost 2 sessions. So why can't you allow us to do some work? Then ASUU will say, all right, Minna, you can go ahead, but don't make noise about it. So, this, you know, government has this attitude that these ASUU people, they are a nuisance. No. It's government, there's a lot of ignorance in government. You know, no minister will tell you that he is going by the laws. Unfortunately, I had the fortune of discussion with the current Minister of Education over a different issue. And I told the minister, don't you know that what you are doing is not within your powers? He said, yeah. You know, he was very frank. He said, yes, but this, over the years, this is what has been happening. Minister of Education takes over powers that are not his. You know, he can even appoint a visitation panel without consulting the Chancellor. And I was sent to Lagos to go and be a chairman of visitation. And I realized I was doing an illegal thing. The Chancellor didn't know, you know? And so they just wrote a circular. So this kind of thing, you know, ASUU itself, they don't read their laws. They don't read university laws. They are just talking in the paradigms of the 1960s and 70s, the Marxist, communist Marxist jargons. This is not enough. The world has moved beyond that. You know, people should realize that we should work and get this system working. And the less we collectivize, the better. You know, for example, if you look at certain countries like China, you think all the power is in Beijing. No way. You find provincial governors, mayors, and so on, were the people that was driving China to development. And it was approved by Takun. But here we sit down, every bit, I want chalk, I have to talk to federal government. I want laboratory equipment, I have to talk to federal government. Yes, all right. Federal government has a responsibility having established these universities, but there is a limit to how far, because some other people have to play their own role, especially parents. I've seen an insult in one of these directives that some parents say they should contribute 10,000 naira to universities per student. Can you understand the kind of rubbish? 10,000 naira, you know? Not 200,000, not 500,000, 10,000 naira, so that this crisis will come. No. Parents are not serious. You cannot take your child, you hand it over to a system that is about to be grounded. As a lack of
funds, Professor.
Right, and all of us.
Professor,
let's
can
get
you hear
10,000 naira.
Professor, can you hear me? Perhaps the parents are also considering the minimum wage, so to speak. That is what they can afford from what the government has offered them. But that aside, how does ASUU perhaps purify its strategies and language in terms of negotiations, and how do we also correct the illegalities that you have mentioned?
Madam, I'm not hearing.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now, Professor?
Yes.
Right. I said with...
I can see your lips are moving.
All right. If you can hear me, because I'm actually shouting now. I was saying that how does ASUU correct or purify its strategies, and also how do we correct the illegalities that you have mentioned to address this matter and save the educational system?
Yeah. Yes. No. Yeah. All right, madam. I got the gist of it. I got the gist of what you are saying, even though I didn't hear most of it. How can we correct this? You see, that's why I say, when you have a crisis, you know, like this, it's an opportunity for you to sort out fundamental problems. You know, I like quoting the Chinese. Crisis in Chinese is represented by two characters, Wu Jing. Wu stands for danger, and Jing stands for opportunities. So when the Chinese is faced with a crisis, the characters that represent crisis tell him, look, you are now in danger, but there's opportunity to come out of that. If we are going to close a university for 6 months, and at the end of the year, of the day, all we do is, give these people 60,000 naira, 70,000 naira, and let them go back to school. No. They are just going back to regroup because many of the fundamental issues have not been addressed. So let them understand they are serious stakeholders. They are, in fact, ASUU, by and large, they are the council, you know. They are the council because, wow, if you look at, I went to University of Lagos as a visitor, and the Vice Chancellor and 3 Deputy Vice Chancellors are on the council. 4 people are from Senate, 2 people are from congregation. Government has only 6 members in that council. So they are all ASUU members. And instead of saying, all right, this responsibility that we have got and forced out of privileges must go with the responsibility. Let's see what how we can use our laws and get this system moving, you know? Yes, there's a lot of money we see in newspapers. Somebody is taking 8 billion, 6 billion. If you are looking at this, you are not concentrating on your work. You are not going anywhere. You cannot stop those criminals from stealing money, but do your own bit, collect some charges, you know. But unless we restructure that is, people should understand they are running an autonomous university. If I am the Vice Chancellor of the University of Lagos, I will pay some professors 3 million per month. Because, you know, somebody, you go and negotiate that this is the allowances for accommodation. How about the one in Gashua? Man in Gashua, where they are begging him to come and take a house. In Lagos, you pay them the same allowances. And all this kind of, or a professor in artificial intelligence, who is a global commodity, you say, yeah, you're going to pay him 400 or 450,000 like you used to pay me or somebody else. It doesn't work. We are running a capitalist system. And universities, all over, they rate people, they value people, they sometimes negotiate for salaries. If I want to bring Professor X to raise the profile of my department, how much am I going to pay him? You have to pay him very high. It doesn't matter. I used to tell people, look, I was in a university where one of my professors was highly rated. He was taking $140,000. Another one was teaching us art history. This is a pleasure kind of thing. And she was taking $24,000 per annum. And both of them are professors. And both of them like their work. So, you know, but here, ASUU insists that there's one salary for everybody in the whole country, one allowance, one this, because there's a military mentality. You know, this council should be able to work out modalities. How do we attract people of substance so that we can move forward? That's why a lot of our academics in Nigeria who have made name overseas, they don't stay, you know. Some of us are too old to go back, but, you know, by the time we finished PhD, they were shocked. Only Nigerian students would finish PhD in the early 80s and 70s and go back home. The rest of them remain in America, the Iranians and the South Americans, Japanese, and so on. We were the only ones that were proud of our country. The salaries were okay, and we immediately you finish your dissertation and we present, you have already booked a flight. This is the country which has now become, you know, something else. Nigeria is feeding the world with the best brains. They are feeding the world with the best brain. Even under these circumstances, when we send our students to for postgraduate work, you know, after settling down, they excel. They excel. We are some of the most talented people in this world. Whether we use the talent correctly or not is something else.
All right, Professor.
Because
Professor, we're wrapping up now, yes. But let me ask you this before we leave. From the revelations you have brought forth and spoken to us about, would you say that ASUU is still relevant in the education sector, in the education system?
I haven't got the question well.
Yeah, the question I'm asking is, from your observation, is ASUU as an association still relevant in the education system?
Yeah, ASUU is relevant in the sense unless we change the mode of operation, you know, because historically, for the last 20, 30 years, anything that the university system gets, they get it out of an ASUU strike. So unless we look back and say, look, how can we stop this open, close, ASUU will continue to be relevant, you know, but collectivizing the whole ASUU, taking state universities, even looking for private universities so that you can ground the system, that's not the attitude ASUU should take, you know. ASUU, for example, ASUU takes, when I give my own dues, ASUU, the local branch will take 40%. Then the national branch will take 60%. I wonder what did they do 60% of my checkoff, you know? So you know that it's centralized, it's a powerful organization. We want to ground the system. No, that's not the attitude. You know, that's not the attitude to get us moving.
Yes.
You know, have you had, for example, take Ghana. Have you had them going on strike for a long time? There was a time their university was like ours, open, close. But at one time, I think it was during Rollins, they reached an agreement. The salary of a university lecturer and his privileges should be, a professor should be equivalent to that of a high court judge.
All right.
So the university, they let the high court judges work for them.
Okay.
And they follow the judicial discipline. Who should take the salary of a magistrate
Prof, we need to end the conversation now, Prof. We need to end the conversation now because we've run out of time. But we must thank you, former Vice Chancellor, Federal University of Technology, Minna, Professor Hamman Saad, for your time on the program.
Thank you very much, sir.